Welcome back. It's time now to take a look at the top business stories. MSCI delays decision on UAE's market status upgrade. First Gulf Bank raises foreign ownership limit. And Greek Prime Minister wins confident vote. Let's look at the stock markets first. Investors digested the MSCI's decision to delay the reclassification process of the UAE stock market. The DFM lost, however, the ADX posted a small plus. The DFM lost 1.8% to close at 1,549 points. No surprise that shares of the DFM were among the top losers. They fell 5.4%. Gulf Finance House dropped 2.7%. And also heavyweight IMA Properties lost by 2.8%. Only few shares ended the day towards the upside. Dubai Islamic Insurance, for instance, gained 3.2%, or Al Madina for Finance and Investment. Its shares were up 4.6%. 124 million shares were traded, valued at 159 million dirhams. While shares in Dubai mainly fell, the ADX managed a small plus of 0.03% to close at 2,732 points. Main reason was a strong plus among finance house shares. They rallied over 8% today. Or Bank of Sharjah, which gained 3.5%. The top gainer, however, was Abu Dhabi Aviation Company. Its shares rallied 9.7%. Dana Gas lost 1.6%, Alder Properties 1.5%, and Sur Real Estate 2.2%. 52 million shares were traded, valued at 93 million dirhams. And let's now look at the GCC equity markets. The country's main benchmarks ended mixed today. And now to our top stories. Index compiler MSCI delayed its decision on whether to reclassify the UAE's and also Qatar's stock market until December. Markets had hoped that late last night the MSCI would upgrade the two to emerging market status. An official statement from MSCI read that the review period will allow additional time for market participants to assess the newly implemented delivery versus payment settlement system. The MSCI also said that the delay will give more time to regulators and the stock exchanges to address concerns over foreign ownership limits and the amount of shares available for foreign investors to trade. And to speak more about what sort of impact this will have for investors, whether or not this will change the equity investment environment, and what it all means for the UAE economy, we caught up with Philippe Dauba-Pantanacce, senior economist at Standard Chartered Bank.
The decision was expected by many market participants. I think that the UAE, but also Qatar, were not completely ready to answer all the criteria from the MSCI. Now, in terms of the investors' environment, I don't think that it's going to change a lot in the upcoming future. We might see a renewed interest in December by investors when the new decisions comes up. But in the meantime, I think that it's going to be business as usual. The change or the upgrade to emerging markets would certainly mean a lot of new inflow from international investors and especially global asset managers who have to follow indexes or indices such as the MSCI Emerging Market Index.
First Gulf Bank has increased the cap on international investor ownership of its shares to 25% today. Its board raised the limit only a few hours before index provider MSCI released its results on the country's market reclassification. First Gulf Bank's managing director, Abdul Hamid Saeed, said that they wanted to further diversify the bank's investor base. In 2008, First Gulf Bank had cut its foreign ownership limit by half from 30% to 15%. By law, a maximum of 49% of a local company can be owned by a foreigner. However, this only applies for companies outside a free zone. Foreign investors' access to local companies is a key criteria set by MSCI in its review of the UAE's market status. And in our fast financial news, the Abu Dhabi Water and Electricity Authority has opened a 16-megawatt power generation plant on the Seychelles. The two generators, with 8 megawatts of power each, was donated by the Abu Dhabi government. It cost 52 million dirhams to provide the islands with electricity. And after the break, we'll run you through what's making the headlines in international business today.